For 7 enduring years, I devoted myself to my grandson with all the love and tenderness I could muster. I found myself not in pursuit of accolades or in the endeavor to prove my worth. Simply attending to the tasks at hand, each day unfolding with purpose and grace. My hands gently cradled him into a peaceful slumber. My feet glided through the haze of fevered dreams and haunting nightmares. One day, my daughter-in-law gazed into my eyes and softly declared, "We need our own space now." In an instant, I found myself free. No grand gestures. I appreciate the offer, but I must decline. With a heart tenderly bruised and pride hanging by a thread, I parted with the sole apartment I possessed in the city and returned to the embrace of the countryside to reside with my sister. I whispered to myself that tranquility was what I sought. Perhaps, just perhaps, the moment has come to embrace a life that is truly my own. Yet tranquility. It endured for but a fleeting moment in time. On a sultry afternoon, the phone rang, breaking the stillness of the moment. My beloved son. "Dearest Mom, might I ask if you would be able to lend a hand with Liam during the summer months? He truly longs for your presence." "Hold on a moment. Oh, and since you're here, might you lend a hand in covering his summer camp expenses? It amounts to approximately $5,000. $5,000, my dear? Now, I find myself beyond the role of merely being the on-call babysitter. I find myself serving as their personal ATM as well. They truly believed I had parted with my home to support their existence. This moment is not meant to be. This tale is poised for a transformation. And I am rewriting the narrative." That evening at dinner, the atmosphere was tinged with a subtle tension. Like a pot forgotten on the stove, simmering with intensity, exuding the sharp aroma of something on the brink of char, Rachel, my self-proclaimed capable and clever daughter-in-law, delicately prodded the green beans on her plate with the tip of her fork, her brows furrowed in a way that suggested she was attempting to conquer the vegetables with an air of elegant disdain. "Elaine, have you taken the time to rinse these thoroughly this time? Liam's stomach is quite delicate. It is clear that he struggles with unrefined cuisine." Her voice remained a gentle whisper, yet her words pierced the air with the sharpness of fine needles. I placed my bowl aside, a gentle heaviness enveloping my heart. I had tenderly soaked and scrubbed those greens twice, peeled them to perfection, and delicately trimmed each stem. What could possibly remain amiss? Before I had the chance to utter a word, she gracefully turned to Liam. "My dear, do you find Grandma's cooking to be more delightful, or do you favor the moments when Mommy treats you to a meal out?" Liam cast a glance at her, then turned his gaze toward me. He softly murmured that Grandma's food is delightful as well. Yet, his eyes seemed to have chosen their allegiances already. A shiver coursed through my being. "Elaine," Rachel continued, her voice gently softening, as she recalled that Andrew, my son, was present in that moment. "Would you be so kind as to lower the volume of the TV in the evening? We have an early start to our day, and Liam has his school commitments awaiting him. The show you indulge in, it captivates us all through the night." I have always embraced the gentle rhythm of retiring early and greeting the dawn with open arms. They were creatures of the night. Our schedules had danced in discord before, and I was certain this would not be the final waltz. I gazed at Andrew, my beloved son. He lowered his gaze, savoring each bite, feigning indifference to the words around him. A tempest surged within me, swift and fierce, robbing me of my very breath. "Rachel," I uttered, my voice trembling with emotion. For 7 years, I nurtured Liam with love and care. With each dawn and every twilight. Do you truly believe I would ever wish to cause him any pain? I shall lower the volume, very well. But please, do not distort the truth or deceive. At last, Andrew raised his gaze. "Mother, please, let us not delay." Rachel's intentions were not as they may have seemed. His tone was gentle, as though he were tenderly caressing the remnants of a delicate moment. "She is merely contemplating what would be most beneficial for Liam. For each and every one of us. Could we not simply embrace a sense of understanding? Comprehension." My hands quivered delicately. I have embraced the art of understanding. I have devoted myself entirely to understanding. I prepare meals, maintain a tidy home, manage errands, and lovingly care for your child from the break of day until nightfall. Is this truly what I receive? Concerns have been expressed regarding my method of washing vegetables. Concerning the volume of my television, it seems to be rather excessive. Rachel set her fork aside, her lips curving into the subtlest, most gracious smile. A sword adorned with delicate silk. Elaine, it's not that we lack appreciation for you. We find ourselves yearning for a moment to embrace our own sanctuary. Liam is gracefully embracing the passage of time. He must cultivate a sense of independence. We wish to embrace the opportunity to navigate our own path for a time. Freedom. What a charming little term to veil their true intentions. The truth revealed itself with undeniable clarity. I found myself no longer woven into the tapestry of that moment. I was the chaos they longed to set free. For 7 years, I danced around their little family like a delicate spinning top. Until I found myself devoid of any sense of identity. And now that I felt weary, they sought to tuck me away like a piece of forgotten furniture, no longer cherished. I offered them my warmth, yet all they perceived was the heat. Overwhelming, intimate, and rather troublesome. Following that enchanting night, the house transformed. It felt as though a hush had descended upon the world. Andrew and Rachel glided together, evading my presence with the grace of a well-rehearsed dance. We would linger together after dinner, sharing the tales of our day, and enjoying a bit of television. In that moment, they would gather their plates and gracefully retreat to their chambers. Or perhaps you might stroll with Liam in my absence. They departed, leaving me in that empty living room, softly murmuring to myself before the screen, akin to a specter attempting to feign its place among the vibrant souls. I was not merely overlooked. I found myself in a position of lesser esteem. I no longer embodied the essence of Grandma. I existed as mere background noise. Or perhaps, furniture that sighed with an audible creak. I made an effort to connect with Liam, suggesting I share a story with him or perhaps construct a tower of blocks together. Yet he withdrew, his gaze filled with uncertainty, a hint of caution lingering in the air. Mother mentioned that it is time for me to discover the joys of playing independently, he remarked. It would be unwise for me to depend on you constantly. That singular phrase etched itself into my heart with the precision of a finely honed blade. Children possess an innocence that shields them from the art of deception. They merely echo the lessons imparted to them. And what of Rachel? She had entrusted him with the knife, her own delicate hand guiding it into his grasp. On that enchanting night, a chill settled deep within my soul. The warmth in my chest began to solidify, transforming into a chill, then an even deeper frost. That evening, I found myself restless in the snug embrace of the narrow twin bed within the intimate guest room. Slumber eluded me. From the master bedroom adjacent to mine, I could discern soft, hushed voices drifting through the walls. Andrew and Rachel exchanged soft whispers, their voices delicate and measured. The words eluded me, yet their essence was clear without needing to be spoken. The soft, restrained rhythm was more than sufficient. I found myself standing on the periphery. I turned my gaze toward the nightstand. A delicate photograph rested there. Little Liam, with his cherubic cheeks aglow, beams a delightful gummy smile directly at the lens. The tears flowed swiftly, warm and ceaseless. On a few enchanting nights that followed, Andrew graced my doorstep. He knocked, gentle as a whisper of regret. He was gently rubbing his hands together, his eyes flitting about, avoiding my gaze. "Mother," he began, his voice steadying as if he were on the brink of sharing something delightful. "Your dedication over the years has been truly remarkable. Perhaps it is time for you to find a moment of tranquility. Truly unwind." Not a single word escaped my lips. I simply gazed upon him. He paused, selecting his next words as if he were delicately arranging blossoms for a solemn farewell. "Rachel and I had a conversation, and we pondered the idea that perhaps it would be more delightful for you to return to the countryside, or to find a charming little place of your own nearby. Perhaps a place that exudes tranquility. Our schedule has become rather late of late, and we certainly wish to preserve the tranquility of your slumber. Serene. For my own benefit. Thus, I might find solace. What a lovely facade of color for what was, in truth, merely a departure. They seemed oblivious to my need for respite. They simply chose not to have me in their lives any longer. What they genuinely desired was for me to fade away from their everyday existence, serene and unobtrusive. And in that fleeting moment, a chill settled within me, forever altering my warmth. Silence enveloped the air, devoid of any cries. No doors shall be slammed. For there are moments when the most profound echo in existence is the stillness that follows surrender. On that enchanting night, I remained silent. As dawn broke, I began the delicate task of packing my belongings. There was little to be found. A selection of exquisite ensembles. The medications I take. A selection of toiletries. I lingered in the living room, casting a final glance around, savoring the moment. Liam's charming little award certificates remained elegantly pinned to the wall. His delicate socks, freshly laundered and lovingly hung by my hand just yesterday, danced softly in the breeze on the balcony line. Every corner murmured the depths of my devotion. And now, none of those cherished things were mine to hold any longer. In the kitchen, I gracefully reached for the apron that had accompanied me through countless moments over the years. It lingered with a delicate whisper of grease and garlic. A testament to all that I have accomplished. All that they desired was swept away. I longed for the chance to embrace Liam as we said our farewells. Perhaps share a few tender farewell sentiments. As I emerged, I found Rachel standing at the door, gracefully zipping up his coat. "Do hurry, dear Liam. We are tardy for our art class," she remarked, her gaze drifting elsewhere. Her voice was smooth and distant, as if she were conversing with a stranger at a bus stop. Liam cast a glance in my direction. In his eyes, a fleeting glimmer of uncertainty danced delicately. Perhaps even a touch of melancholy. Yet, amidst it all, confusion reigned supreme. He whispered softly, "Farewell, dear Grandma," and allow her to guide him into the unknown. The door closed with a decisive thud behind them. It was more than mere sound, it was a declaration of fate. My time in this family has gracefully come to a close. Andrew gracefully guided me down the stairs. In the elevator, he remained silent. From time to time, he would steal a fleeting glance in my direction, only to avert his gaze with the shyness of a schoolboy caught in a moment of mischief. In the lobby, he gracefully extracted a handful of crisp $100 bills from his wallet. I gathered 3, perhaps 4, and gently placed them into my hand. "Mother, please accept this. Should anything arise," he whispered softly. "Should you ever find yourself in need, do not hesitate to reach out to me." I gazed at the bills. In that moment, they felt like smoldering embers cradled in my hand. I did not take them. Not a single word escaped my lips. I gracefully gathered my petite suitcase and stepped out, not daring to glance behind me. A single step. Then, another one. My spine stands tall and poised. My pace remains unwavering. Not allowing him even a glimpse of remorse. This was not a loss. It was not an act of surrender. This was grace. Allow them to believe they have penned my departure. They would soon realize that I could thrive beautifully without them. Indeed, my life would flourish beautifully. As I emerged from the building, the sky had gracefully surrendered to the embrace of darkness. Glistening headlights danced gracefully across the cobblestone streets. Glistening neon signs flickered above the bustling sidewalks. The city thrummed with vibrant energy. Unceasing, unwavering. And yet amidst all that movement, not a single moment was truly mine. I lingered at the brink of the sidewalk, observing as strangers flowed by like gentle waves. For the very first time in my existence, I sensed that the world had gracefully advanced beyond me. In my absence. Where might I wander to? Just a single location danced through my thoughts. That charming old apartment. The cherished home that my late husband and I diligently worked to acquire. A quaint little haven, weathered yet undeniably ours. Once Andrew tied the knot, he graciously extended an invitation for me to join him and Rachel in their new life together. The apartment had remained unoccupied ever since. I had spent many solitary years in that place before, embracing memories as if they were the very breath of life. Yet, was I truly returning to where it all began? To linger in solitude amidst those frigid, crumbling walls and let the years slip by in quietude? I turned around and discovered the most affordable motel in the vicinity. The room was just spacious enough to unfurl my suitcase. The air hung heavy, enveloping my lungs with a tender embrace. Mildew delicately curled at the corners of the ceiling. I reclined upon the creaky mattress, my gaze drifting to the yellow water stains that adorned the ceiling above. Slumber eluded me. What shall we do now? I gently reached beneath the pillow, my fingers brushing against the soft fabric, and retrieved my phone with a delicate grace. My hands quivered gently as I entered the sole number that felt right. Diana, my dear. My beloved sister. She had wed in a serene little town, nestled far from the bustling world. It had been years since our paths last crossed. She answered after a few rings, her voice enveloped in warmth and a gentle haze of slumber. Elaine, my dear. What is unfolding before us? What brings you to call at such a late hour? I intended to dismiss it with a light-hearted laugh. Whisper a gentle breeze of words. Yet, as I parted my lips, the tears flowed swiftly and abundantly. Each word faltered on my lips, my voice trembling as the anguish poured forth in fragmented whispers. It did not turn out as beautifully as I had hoped. There was no necessity for it. She grasped the essence of it all. Pardon me, what did you say? What did they do? Diana's voice rose, cutting through the silence with a fierce intensity. Andrew has utterly succumbed to madness. Ah, dear Rachel. What sort of individual would treat another in such a manner? Her anger was unmistakable, yet her voice remained steady and composed. Elaine, please, do not shed another tear. Do you hear my voice, my dear? Gather your belongings, my dear. Come, let us share this moment together. Together, we shall unravel this mystery. Her words ignited a fire within me, piercing through every shadow that had enveloped me entirely. Certainly. I still had my beloved sister by my side. As the call drew to a close, a warmth ignited within my heart, illuminating the shadows that had lingered. I had no intention of returning to that apartment. I refused to linger in anticipation of another's need for my presence. That place, once my cherished home, now stood as a delicate monument to a life that had gracefully slipped away. It was my last tender refuge, yet it had transformed into a binding chain. Parting with it would not merely prevent Andrew and Rachel from laying their hands upon it. It would liberate my soul. The following morning, I reached out to a real estate agency. The aged apartment may have shown signs of wear, yet it possessed a charm that only its prime location could bestow. A mere stroll to the subway awaits. The agent whispered to me that the market was ablaze with opportunity, and with just the right timing, it could yield a most delightful price. As I signed the listing agreement, a gentle tremor graced my fingers. Yet within me, there blossomed a serene determination I had not experienced in many years. This money, this choice, it was never meant for them. It was meant for me. For the very first time, I am wholly devoted to my future. The sale unfolded with remarkable swiftness. In the span of a month, the buyer affixed their signature, and the paperwork was gracefully finalized. As the funds graced my account, not a windfall but a sum ample enough to guide me gently through the years to come, I finally released a breath of relief. I chose not to share that with Andrew. I chose not to share that with Rachel. Unbeknownst to them, the apartment now belonged to a new owner. I had no inkling that the funds were serenely nestled in an account bearing my name. That money was the last whisper of my hidden truth. And my ultimate shield. I began to plan with great care. I secured a portion of it in a fixed deposit. Not a single cent shall be disturbed. That was my unwavering sanctuary. The remainder I maintained in a fluid state, reserved for the essentials. for all that the next chapter may unveil. Thereafter, I procured a bus ticket to a quaint little town nestled in Maine. As the bus glided away from the city, I beheld the skyline dissolve into a delicate blend of steel and shimmering neon. The throngs gathered at the subway entrance. The twinkling storefronts. The shimmering glass towers I had once traversed daily. Everything gradually slipped away, transforming into mere whispers in the background. I was unaware of the treasures that awaited me at the journey's end. Yet, there was one truth I held dear. I shall never return to that house again. It was as if one were breaking free from a gilded cage. Bittersweet, peculiar, yet oddly liberating. As if at last releasing the cherished essence of a bottle long kept sealed, a treasure preserved through the passage of time. Only to discover that the essence within was a blend of every emotion you had never allowed yourself to embrace. Sweet relief. Longing. A whisper of trepidation. Yet, there is also tranquility. As time passed, the road gracefully wound its way through lush, undulating hills. A gentle breeze stirred the atmosphere. It carried the enchanting fragrance of pine needles mingling with the essence of damp earth. Pure, refreshing, vibrant. It was as if an unseen force tenderly caressed the tangled emotions within my heart. The bus gracefully arrived at the quaint little transit station of the town. And there she stood, a vision of grace. Diana. She stood gracefully by the platform, her hands nestled warmly within the pockets of her coat. Gaze wandering through the windows. She appeared to have gained a touch of maturity since the last time our paths crossed. A handful of delicate silver strands graced her hair. Yet her smile, radiant, expansive, and steadfast, remained unchanged. Elaine, she called, gracefully approaching me. As she enveloped me in her embrace, I felt myself surrender completely. Like a wandering soul who has at last discovered sanctuary, I nestled my face against her shoulder and wept softly. 7 years laden with weariness, indignity, and lingering bitterness. Everything poured forth in that singular embrace. Each moment of disillusionment. Each night spent in restless wakefulness. In each fleeting moment, I found myself standing solitary within another's abode, striving to keep my breath a whisper. She embraced me tenderly, her fingers softly gliding over my back. Your presence graces this moment. That is all that truly matters, she murmured softly. It has come to an end. You have captured my heart. You shall no longer walk this path in solitude. Her voice danced like the gentle mountain breeze. Pure, unwavering, and confident. We journeyed to her abode. A charming 2-story cabin nestled at the woodland's edge. In the front yard, tomatoes, green beans, and corn flourished in graceful, orderly rows. A handful of chickens paraded gracefully across the verdant grass, as if claiming the realm as their own. The abode may not have been extravagant, yet it radiated warmth and was impeccably clean. All things found their rightful place. Everything was graced by her touch. A jar of homemade blueberry jam rested gracefully by the window, basking in the final golden rays of the afternoon sun. I lingered at the threshold, drawing in a breath rich with possibility. The atmosphere was imbued with the fragrant essence of earth and newly mown grass. A gentle wind chime tinkled softly beneath the eaves of the porch. In the gentle embrace of dawn, a rooster's call echoed softly in the distance. In that fleeting moment, a profound sense of tranquility enveloped me. The city lights may twinkle with allure, yet they have never enveloped me in warmth. Here, the earth lay unadorned yet steadfast beneath my feet. And for the first time in an eternity, I sensed a profound sense of belonging. Life in the countryside unfolded with a gentle grace, embracing a simplicity that felt profoundly sincere. Each morning, I awakened not to the cacophony of traffic, but to the sweet serenade of birds singing outside my window and the gentle commotion of chickens and ducks in the yard. Vanished were the harsh alarms, the stark brightness, and the suffocating clamor. As the day unfolded, sunlight danced through the trees, carrying with it the delicate fragrance of earth upon the gentle breeze. Throughout the day, Diana and I toiled together in the garden, gently uprooting weeds, nurturing the rows of vegetables with water, and delicately pruning the leaves. As I observed those delicate green sprouts reaching for the sky with each passing day, a familiar warmth blossomed within me once more. Each morning, we were greeted by the gentle clucking of our cherished chickens, who gifted us with fresh, warm eggs, lovingly cradled in soft straw. Diana graciously imparted her wisdom, teaching me the art of baking bread in a charming wood-fired oven. The aroma, of golden crust, smoke, and yeast, was an experience I had yet to encounter in the city. From time to time, we would meander to the town market, seeking a few delightful provisions. We would encounter our neighbors, exchanging sweet words with cherished friends from the past. Though I was unfamiliar with some, each person welcomed me with a delightful warmth and effortless joy. Much like the gentle caress of sunlight in this place. Modest yet brimming with affection. Indeed, the labor left my muscles tender and aching. Yet, as the night fell, I found solace in slumber. Profoundly. In a state of serene slumber. Only sweet dreams. Let there be no frigid pauses. No burden resting upon my heart as that cherished abode once did. Here, the words flowed with a certain simplicity, occasionally carrying a hint of unrefined charm. Yet, it was sincere. Infinitely more delightful than the insipid smiles and sweetened deceptions I had come to accept in the city. The elderly gentleman from next door would grace us with his presence, bringing along freshly caught trout as a delightful offering. A neighbor graciously presented us with warm cornbread, lovingly wrapped in a delicate tea towel. Indulge, she would gently suggest. If you desire more, I shall gladly prepare another batch for you. In a way that transcends mere apologies, those tender words mended wounds more profoundly than one could ever imagine. Diana and I would frequently find ourselves on the wooden bench in the yard, delicately peeling string beans as the sun gracefully dipped behind the hills. One enchanting evening, as we delicately shelled peas into a gleaming metal bowl, she glanced over and inquired, "Do you have any plans now that you found your place?" A gentle smile graced my lips as I cast my gaze upon the patch of soil just beyond the porch. First and foremost, I wished to transform this space into something truly enchanting. Enhance the ambience to create a more inviting haven. I lingered, my thoughts beginning to take shape. Regarding the remainder of those funds, I find myself pondering the idea of embarking on a delightful little venture together. The air is pure, and the land is splendid. Perhaps a charming retreat on a quaint farm? Alternatively, we offer the delightful vegetables and pickles cultivated right here. Nothing grand, merely a delightful engagement to occupy our time. Diana's eyes sparkled with a sudden brilliance. For years, my heart has yearned to embrace that moment. Unfortunately, I lacked the means to embark on this journey. Yet now, with the two of us together, we can truly create something beautiful. As I beheld her radiance, a sense of tranquility washed over me, a feeling I had long yearned for. Upon returning to the city, I found myself gracefully entwined in the daily dance of Liam's delightful after-school snacks, Andrew's ever-changing moods, and Rachel's whimsical desires. I was a delicate strand, tugged in myriad directions, never permitted to find my form. Yet, in this moment, I nurtured the earth. In this place, when I sowed a seed, I was certain of the beauty that would blossom in return. Just as life began to embrace a sense of tranquility once more, that serene moment was abruptly disrupted by a single phone call. It appears to be a call from Andrew. I gazed at the screen for a moment, my heart descending in that all-too-familiar, weighty manner. With graceful steps, I made my way to the far end of the backyard, ensuring I remained hidden from Diana's gaze. Inhaled deeply. Pressed response. "Hello, dear mother." His voice carried an unusual tone, too relaxed, too contrived. "Greetings, my dear," I replied with a calm demeanor. He engaged in light conversation for a brief moment, neglecting to inquire about my well-being or to acknowledge my departure. He failed to reach out and see how I was doing. He beckoned for something. "Is everything well beyond these walls? Are you managing well, financially?" "I'm quite well," I replied with a serene grace. "Not indulging excessively." "Ah, how delightful that is." A moment of stillness lingered in the air. Then arrived the true essence of the matter. Greetings, regarding the apartment we discussed. The dwelling you once called home. Did you, perhaps, find a buyer for it? I offered a gentle smile. Ever serene. Ever poised. Indeed. I have parted with it. What was the amount you received for it? He inquired with an urgency that betrayed his attempt at nonchalance, and remarked that I responded with a frosty laugh. Yet, my tone remained effortlessly buoyant. Not a great deal. Just sufficient for Diana and me to navigate our days together. Restore the charming old house to its former glory. Rest assured, I shall not trouble you with any requests. Stillness. I could almost sense him grappling with the weight of disappointment. A moment later, he attempted once more, his voice soft and uncertain. Mother? It seems that circumstances are rather constrained at the moment. The expenses of Liam's schooling have become quite overwhelming, and thus, I have decided to withdraw my support. It would be wise for you and Rachel to cultivate the art of managing your own finances. My finances are already well managed. Enclosed within. I shall refrain from engaging with it. At this stage in my life, it is essential to ensure that I possess something truly special for myself. Do you grasp the essence of what I mean? Indeed, he murmured softly. And just like that, the conversation came to a gentle close. I lingered in the yard, the phone cradled in my hand, gazing out at the enchanting hills in the distance. The breeze wafted the fragrant essence of earth and pine through the air. Yet, tranquility eluded my heart. I was aware. This marks merely the dawn of our journey. They were not inclined to release their hold so effortlessly. After a brief moment, it seemed that Diana had caught sight of my expression. She glided over, her fingers brushing gently against my arm. Did Andrew call, my dear? What was it that he desired this time? I shared with her all that was in my heart. She gently struck her thigh, a flicker of frustration dancing in her eyes. Didn't I mention that they were pursuing your wealth? Elaine, I implore you, do not allow yourself to become tender once more. They will draw you back in the moment you dare to look away. I inclined my head gently. My gaze began to refine. In their hearts, that house money was never meant for me. It was merely a matter of awaiting the inheritance. They exchanged tender words, yet all that captured their gaze was a resource they could access whenever they desired. And indeed, it was not long before the next move unfolded. This time, however, it arrived adorned in a fresh guise. My dear Liam. Beloved grandmother. His voice was gentle, known, and tinged with uncertainty. Like the gentle whisper of cherished memories caressing my heart. That single word struck me deeply. 7 years filled with tales and treats, gentle band-aids, and tender bedtime embraces. Such a connection is not easily severed. I endeavored to maintain a soft and tender tone in my voice. Greetings, Liam. Ah, I see you long for Grandma, don't you? Indeed. I long for you, he murmured softly, his voice trembling. Dearest Grandma, when shall we be graced with your presence once more? I long to share another delightful moment with you. For a fleeting moment, I found myself enveloped in silence, my heart entwined with a myriad of unspoken emotions. Could this truly be him, or? I inquired with great care. My dear, did your mommy or daddy request that you reach out to me? Stillness. Only the sound of his breath. Then a whisper, soft and elusive. Indeed. Mother mentioned that if you return, we could visit the amusement park together. And, you will assist in covering the expenses for the robot camp. And in that fleeting moment, a delicate shift occurred within me. Chime. Concluding. And thus, it came to a close. It remains the same enchanting pursuit. Yet, the script remains unchanged. They were employing him, his purity, his affection, as if he were merely an accessory. Transforming him into a gentle vessel for their upcoming fundraising endeavor. They requested that I make the payment once more. Invest in affection. Compensate for the absence felt. To pay for a place in a family that never wished for my presence, but rather sought my service. Yet, this moment is different. Never more shall it be. I shall not succumb to the same snare again. I composed myself, gently calming the quiver in my voice. My dear, Grandma longs for you as well. Whenever the opportunity arises, I shall pay you a visit. But do be good, my dear, won't you? Once the call ended, my fingers lingered tightly around the phone, as if holding on to a fleeting moment. The final vestige of warmth I had clung to, that delicate thread of emotion binding me to them, has vanished into the ether. Drained to the core by a call that bore the hollow echo of a practice performance. In a matter of days, Andrew reached out once more. This time, the air was thick with unspoken words. No more hesitations. He approached the matter with a charming confidence, as if he had already woven the answer into the fabric of fate, expecting a resounding yes. Dearest mother, the warmth of summer approaches. Rachel and I both have our commitments, and alas, there is truly no one available to care for Liam. Would you be so kind as to lend a hand for a little while? He often expresses how much he longs for you. A soft chuckle nearly escaped my lips. Yet, what emerged was a languid, arid whisper. Ah. Kindly lend your assistance. I elongated the words with intention. If I were to return, where might I find my place to stay? Last I heard, there was no longer a space for me in your heart. A moment of stillness lingered in the air. He had not anticipated such a turn of events. Then arrived the clumsy endeavor at diplomacy. Indeed, the apartment feels a touch snug. Perhaps, I wonder, the couch might be the answer? Only for a fleeting moment. Alternatively, you might consider renting a nearby option. Perhaps we might consider contributing together towards a portion of the rent. How audacious. The offer resonated so clearly that I could almost hear the soft clatter of the calculator in Rachel's mind from 3 states away. They longed for my return. Not merely as a guest, nor even as family, but as a devoted, full-time on-call caregiver. There is no bed. There is no solace to be found. Not a trace of dignity. And I would have the honor of covering the costs myself, perhaps with a modest contribution towards the rent. As if I were a self-sufficient wanderer, a mop gracefully held in one hand, while the other clutched a bank card, navigating through life's unexpected moments. The anger surged swiftly, a searing flame. My knuckles became pale as my nails pressed into the softness of my palm. Yet, I concealed it gracefully. I found myself unable to do so. They were not privy to the moment of my fervent outburst. That would have been a triumph for them. With a gentle inhalation, I allowed the tempest within to retreat into its confines. Then I adorned my voice with the softest, sweetest melody I could conjure. Indeed, Andrew, I replied. I shall prepare everything with care. I eagerly anticipate the moment I can embrace my dear grandson. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. As for the camp fees, let us discuss that in person. Allow them to believe they have triumphed. Allow them to weave their modest dreams. If they seek my financial support once more, so be it. Yet this time, it shall unfold according to my desires. I shared with Diana every detail, precisely as it unfolded. Andrew's heartfelt request. The choice I have made. Each exquisite detail. Her visage flushed with a deep shade of crimson. She sprang from her chair as if poised to embark on a journey to the city herself. Elaine, have you lost your senses? It appears they are intent on extracting every last drop from you. It is simply not possible for you to leave. I softly guided her back into her seat, resting a soothing hand over hers. Diana, relax, I murmured gently. I am fully aware of my intentions. My gaze intensified. This time, I shall not return in the role of a nanny. I shall return to gather what is mine. She fluttered her lashes delicately. Gather. I offered a distant, mirthless smile. They enjoy engaging in the delightful dance of numbers, do they not? Very well. Then let us take a moment to sit together and truly assess the value of this so-called family bond. First, let us consider the matter of housing. They claimed there is no space for my presence. Extended the invitation to the couch. It was suggested that I take care of my own accommodations. Very well. I shall indulge in the game. We gathered at the weathered kitchen table, as if orchestrating a grand affair, meticulously outlining each step, every boundary drawn with care. With every nuance, Diana's concern transformed into something altogether different. Her eyes sparkled with a radiant glow. The tempest that had once marred her visage surrendered to a vibrant, electric thrill. Indeed, she gently applauded her thigh. That is precisely the course of action you ought to take. Make it clear that you will no longer allow yourself to be walked over. I once devoted my heart to that family, yearning for their affection in return. All it garnered was mere exploitation. This time, I shall embrace wisdom with grace. Tarper. As the days passed, I began to prepare for my journey home. Yet, it is not as it once was. No grand tote bags brimming with preserves, sun-ripened tomatoes, or lovingly crafted cookies. There is no mental inventory of preferences or considerations that might bring a fleeting smile to Rachel's face this time. This time, I journeyed with a light heart. A mere selection of summer attire. Vital remedies. There is nothing further to say. For I had discovered a truth through the trials of experience. Regardless of the depth of affection you offer, one cannot compel another to return that love. Such dedication. It simply stirred my heart. They never came to meet me in the middle. Before my departure, I made a brief visit to the local bank and gracefully withdrew $2,000 in cash. Arrange it into graceful stacks. Carefully nestled within the concealed pockets delicately stitched into my attire. That was everything I had to offer. What about the remaining funds for the house? Already secured in fixed-term deposits, tenderly preserved within a plan that Diana and I had lovingly crafted together. She possessed an intimate knowledge of the whereabouts of the account book and the safety key. That was my shield. It remained untouched by all. And to ensure her heart felt secure, I gazed deeply into her eyes and promised, I'll send you a message each night. If there comes a day when my voice is absent, do not linger in expectation. Kindly summon the authorities. She remained unperturbed. I promise you this, dear Elaine. If they dare to touch you, I promise, I shall become their most haunting fear. With her by my side, I discovered a newfound sense of stability. Prepared and poised. A few days later, I found myself standing before Andrew's door, a small carry-on suitcase delicately in hand. With a gentle push, Rachel unveiled the door, inviting the world beyond to witness her presence. The moment she laid eyes on me, her face blossomed into a radiant smile, so sweet it was almost overwhelming. Elaine, at last, you have arrived. Step inside, step inside. Liam has been inquiring about you with unwavering curiosity. Andrew rose from the couch, his smile a carefully crafted facade, as if he had just donned a new mask. Dearest mother, I can only imagine how weary you must feel after your journey. With a silent nod, I gracefully wheeled my suitcase into the living room. And there it was. The couch, adorned with elegantly folded blankets and a plush pillow, seemed to invite guests as if hosting royalty, albeit with a charmingly modest touch. With a gentle and thoughtful gesture, Rachel directed her attention toward it. The house is rather cozy at the moment, so we kindly ask you to bear with us just for tonight, if that's all right. Once Liam's summer break begins, you may find yourself weary from the joy of watching him throughout the day, so do take the time to indulge in some well-deserved rest. Each word was infused with sweetness, yet the meaning resonated unmistakably. Kindly refrain from entering the bedroom. Please, keep the noise to a minimum. Do not allow yourself to settle in too easily. Yet, I chose not to resist. Stood unwavering. I smiled warmly, placed my suitcase gently on the ground, and replied, "Oh, I'm quite well. It's nothing to worry about." Both of them appeared to unwind gracefully. The soft sigh of relief seemed to whisper through the air. And that was the moment I made my move. Yet, I remarked with a hint of nonchalance, my back no longer possesses the strength it once did. The couch feels a touch cozy. In the quiet hours of the night, I find myself rising 2 or 3 times, the dance of lights flickering on and off. I would never wish to interrupt your peaceful slumber. I lingered, observing as their expressions tensed, akin to the strings of a violin drawn too swiftly. I found myself pondering a charming little motel nestled just beyond the complex. Affordably priced. Perhaps I might linger there instead. This allows me to tend to Liam throughout the day and return in the evening. All is serene. A delightful harmony for all involved. My voice was gentle, soothing. Yet each word resonated like a pin upon polished marble, sharp and striking. Did they desire a nanny who embodies the spirit of freedom? What a pity. This nanny possessed choices and a sense of dignity. The atmosphere became still, as if time itself had paused. This was an unforeseen turn of events. This was not a chapter they had anticipated. Rachel was the first to regain her composure, her voice rising gracefully in pitch. A quaint motel, perhaps? Mother, that is quite costly. Why squander such precious resources in that manner? Indeed, our abode may be modest, yet the couch offers a delightful comfort. It is unnecessary to invest in such a thing. Yet, it was not the wealth that troubled her heart. Who holds the reins of control? When I was not beneath their roof, I was free from their summons. There shall be no summons to the table, nor shall I be swayed by any subtle pleas for further indulgences. I fear I may cause some inconvenience. Oh, Rachel, I remarked, a smile gracing my lips. Then I gazed upon Andrew. It is merely a motel. It's nothing to worry about. Surely, I believe I have deserved a touch of solace, wouldn't you agree? I let out a gentle sigh and gracefully shrugged my shoulders. The only matter at hand is that I did not bring a substantial amount of cash with me. It all unfolded rather spontaneously. So he visits the motel. I allowed the words to linger gracefully in the atmosphere. Their expressions transformed in an instant. They received the message with grace. You extended the invitation, so it is only fitting that you take care of the expenses. The courteous smiles dissipated like wisps of smoke. Andrew began to fidget, his gaze flitting between me and Rachel, reminiscent of a child ensnared in a moment of mischief. A delicate sheen of perspiration graced his brow. Rachel's jaw tightened, her lips pressed together in a delicate line. Her eyes glinted with a piercing intensity. Silence enveloped the room, rich and heavy. At last, Andrew uttered a word, his voice carrying a certain rigidity. Very well, he murmured, retrieving his wallet and presenting me with several crisp bills, a sum of $500, intended for a few days. In due time, we shall find our way. With a sharp exhale through her nose, Rachel turned on her heel and departed, leaving silence in her wake. I accepted the money with a composed demeanor, concealing any hint of pleasure that might have dared to surface. Thank you ever so much. I shall take my leave to find my place, I remarked. Until tomorrow, my dear. I shall arrive promptly at 8 to commence our endeavors. With a final, fleeting glance on Cast, I gracefully rolled my suitcase to the door and stepped out into the world beyond. The sun cast its warm, golden rays upon the world. The gentle breeze wafted delightful whispers of freshly brewed coffee and the clean scent of laundry soap from the nearby laundromat. I strolled down the street to a quaint inn, where I reserved a charming room for my stay. Though it lacked grandeur, the windows radiated warmth, the bed embraced me with softness, and above all, no one here regarded me as if I were in their debt. I gently placed my suitcase on the ground and attended to the first task that beckoned me. Summon Diana. The first step has been gracefully accomplished. On the other end, she was almost fervently striking the table. That is my sister. Reveal your commanding presence. I set down the phone and surrendered to the embrace of the bed, releasing a deep, lingering sigh. The sunlight poured through the window, casting a warm and golden glow. A realm distant from the unforgiving, unyielding couch they had set for my arrival. Yet, I was aware that allowing myself to feel at ease was unwise. this was merely the prelude. The true delicacy? The robotics camp priced at $5,000. Let us discover their true desires. Ah, a mother? Or merely the wealth? As the clock struck 8 the following morning, I gracefully arrived at Andrew's door. As promised, I arrived right on time. It was Liam who responded. Beloved grandmother. For a fleeting moment, his eyes sparkled with a pure, unfiltered joy that only a child can bestow. Yet, in an instant, it faded away. As if he were weighing the propriety of embracing such profound joy. I extended my hand and softly tousled his hair before gracefully stepping inside. Rachel glided out of the bedroom, still clad in her pajamas, stifling a yawn, and offering a smile that felt more like a delicate thorn than a genuine warmth. Ah, you have arrived, she murmured. I nodded, my tone composed and steady. Has Liam dined yet? She gracefully turned her gaze toward the kitchen. Not at this moment. I was on the verge of creating something delightful. I chose to remain silent. I have just settled onto the couch, turned on the morning news, and now I find myself watching in serene silence. Moments later, she appeared, gracefully carrying 2 plates of a simple breakfast, placing them on the table in serene silence. She cast a fleeting glance in my direction, a spark of unspoken words dancing on her lips, yet ultimately chose to keep them hidden away. Following their morning meal, Andrew and Rachel hurriedly prepared to leave, their movements accompanied by a gentle hush. As she gracefully zipped up her coat, Rachel cast a playful remark over her shoulder. Oh, Elaine, do prepare something delightful and light for our lunch. Liam's laundry is currently in the machine, you may proceed with that task. We shall return for dinner, so please do not prepare too late. I gazed upward, serene and unhurried. My dear Rachel, I must confess that my slumber at the motel last night was far from restful, I murmured softly. It seems I am still finding my way in this unfamiliar bed. Today, I find myself enveloped in a gentle haze of low energy. Then I smiled, my sweetness lingering like honey's gentle embrace. I shall simply whisk Liam away for a delightful little lunch. Regarding the laundry, I believe you and Andrew will manage that beautifully this evening. I consented to assist in ensuring that Liam does not take charge of the household. The atmosphere grew dense with anticipation. Her expression faded, as if a delicate mask had gently slipped away. Her lips parted, eyes narrowed as if she were poised to etch a mark upon my very soul. Yet, in that moment, her gaze fell upon Liam, who stood there, observing her with an intensity that stirred something deep within. With a swift motion, she stifled her words, sealing her lips tightly as she closed the door behind her with a decisive force. And in an instant, the rules transformed. Throughout that entire day, I fulfilled every promise I made to myself. Observe Liam closely. Just that. We indulged in delightful cartoons, crafted magnificent block towers, and strolled gracefully downstairs. What about the art of cooking, the grace of cleaning, and the rhythm of laundry? Unblemished. During our midday repast, I led him to a charming little deli where we indulged in delightful sandwiches. As Rachel returned home early that afternoon, she opened the door and found herself momentarily captivated, standing still in the threshold. The kitchen appeared just as she had remembered it, untouched and serene. Plates piled high in the sink, a garbage bag overflowing, and the counters remain undisturbed. Her expression grew taut in that moment. Before she had the chance to utter a word, I interjected softly with a tender whisper. Oh, I found myself in a gentle haze all afternoon. I endeavored to maintain a sense of calm for Liam. I wished to avoid the chance of overexerting myself. Each time she endeavored to suggest a subtle clue. Perhaps we could indulge in the simple pleasure of folding a bit of laundry together? The refuse bin is nearing its capacity. I possessed a serene and unwavering response, poised and prepared. Piebacks are misbehaving. The doctor advised me to refrain from overexertion. That falls outside the scope of our agreement. Her jaw remained taut. Her breaths became more delicate. Yet, she remained silent. For the summer stretched on endlessly. And she still desired my presence. Even with Liam, I ceased to be the ever-adoring pushover. As he implored for the exquisite toy, I knelt gracefully and spoke softly. "My dear, it seems that Grandma is not in a position to provide that kind of financial support at this moment. Both father and mother put in great effort as well. It is not always within our reach to acquire all that our hearts desire." As he cast the toy aside in a moment of exasperation, I chose not to reprimand him. I simply gazed into his eyes. "Kindly lift it up. Honor your cherished possessions. And the souls who bestowed them upon you." Gradually, I began to sow the seeds of wonder in that young boy's universe. Whispers of limits. With heartfelt appreciation. Of reverence. It was beyond my power to alter the essence of his parents. Yet, perhaps, just perhaps, I might leave a tender fragment of my essence within him. Something that would endure beyond the warmth of summer. Initially, Liam found himself uncertain about how to perceive this transformed version of his grandmother. He appeared to be in a state of bewilderment. Caught in the delicate dance of longing and trepidation, where love intertwines with doubt. Yet, children possess a remarkable adaptability and an innate instinctiveness. In just a matter of days, he found himself circling back into my world once more. Yet occasionally, he would still echo one of Rachel's carefully chosen phrases. I understood that transforming a child's perspective would not be a simple endeavor. Particularly with parents such as his, providing him with carefully crafted scripts. Yet, I felt compelled to make the attempt. I once embodied the essence of a devoted grandmother, always ready to give my all. Perpetually giving. Perpetually mending. Ever so gently mending the fabric of our interactions before a word is spoken. Not any longer. Absolutely not. I played the role of the grandmother bound by a contract. The job description was beautifully articulated. Only childcare. Tidying up. Washing garments. Creating culinary delights. Those were exquisite services. Each item is available at a distinct price. As the days gracefully unfolded, the deadline for the robotics camp drew ever nearer. $5,000 hovered like a clock softly ticking just behind Andrew and Rachel's gaze. One enchanting evening at dinner, Rachel felt it was the perfect moment for yet another carefully crafted pitch. "Elaine," she murmured, gracefully placing a portion of food onto Liam's plate. "This robotics camp is truly remarkable. A teacher hailing from Germany has joined, and many eager children have already enrolled. It will undoubtedly enhance Liam's prospects for admission to a distinguished middle school." As she spoke, her gaze met mine, a delicate attempt to decipher the emotions dancing across my features. Andrew interjected swiftly, his voice laced with urgency. "Indeed, dear mother, the competition has become quite intense in recent times. It is our heartfelt desire that Liam remains on track and does not lag behind." I gently placed my chopsticks aside, nodding with a hint of contemplation, and leaned in, my curiosity evident. "Oh, truly? What lessons do they impart? May I inquire about the identity of the instructor? May I inquire about the location of the classes? How often shall we meet each week?" I adorned our conversation with questions, each one reflecting my sincere interest. They eagerly embraced the invitation, cascading into a whirlwind of enchanting details. Collaborative coding endeavors within international STEM initiatives. Striving to present it with the finesse of experienced marketers. As they took a moment to catch their breath, I allowed the stillness to linger for a heartbeat before exhaling softly and saying, "It truly sounds wonderful. Yet, 5,000? That is a considerable sum indeed." I adorned my visage with a delicate frown to perfect the ensemble. Just a hint that it could be overwhelming for my heart. Then, with a graceful ease, I shifted my approach. "Ah, but you both have quite commendable positions now, do you not? Didn't you acquire that splendid new car just last year? Oh, Rachel, was that not a delightful new designer bag you shared on Instagram recently? Thus, this 5,000 should not prove to be too great a challenge, should it?" I delicately sipped my tea while their expressions became statuesque. Rachel's lips pressed together, her complexion fading delicately. Andrew blinked softly, as if he were grasping for a reply yet discovering nothing to hold on to. Within me, a subtle smile danced in delight. Yet, on the surface, I maintained a serene and amiable demeanor. 5,000, I murmured gently. That is not a mere trifle. Rachel finally managed a smile, delicate yet tinged with bitterness. Mother, you are aware of how significant this is for Liam. Andrew and I are both putting in a great deal of effort. Our desire is to bestow upon him a brighter future. We have no intention of asking for your payment. Ah, indeed, I responded with a soft nod. Your intentions are truly admirable. However, I am also aware of your financial situation. You have acquired a car. My dear Rachel, you have just acquired a splendid new handbag. Thus, 5,000 should not pose a significant concern. They both flinched ever so slightly, yet I noticed it all the same. Andrew cast his gaze downward. Her lips parted, only to close once more. He remained silent. I raised my cup to my lips and savored another languid sip. My funds have already been allocated, I replied with a gentle shrug. Bound in a delicate embrace. I truly cannot reach them. This one is yours as well. Their expressions hardened, as if a path they had anticipated to traverse had transformed into an unyielding barrier of steel. I offered them one last tender nudge. You are the guardians of this beautiful journey. It is your responsibility to nurture your child's future, rather than depending on another to bear that burden. A gentle hush enveloped the kitchen once more. Heavy and uninviting. Andrew's hand quivered delicately as he held his chopsticks. He cast a fleeting glance at Rachel before turning his gaze towards me. After a moment's pause, he finally found his voice. Very well, dear mother. We shall find our own way, together. Rachel remained silent. Her jaw tightened delicately. Her chest rose and fell with a quick intensity before she gracefully turned and swept into the kitchen to tidy up. With lips pressed together and back held straight, the ache of loss lingers in each graceful motion. She understood that this round had slipped through her fingers. And that I had transformed into a far more elusive muse than I once was. The following morning, precisely as planned, I found myself at the doorstep of Andrew and Rachel. This time, not merely as grandma, but as a woman of distinction, with boundaries, clarity, and a sense of empowerment. In my hand lay a contract I had carefully crafted the night prior. Let us embrace clarity and certainty. Let us part ways with the shadows of emotional manipulation. A simple and just accord. Rachel opened the door, her delicate smile lingering like a fragile mask, poised on the brink of breaking free. Good morning, dear Elaine. She sang with a light, joyful sound. I offered a courteous smile in return and gracefully handed her the folder. This is the work agreement I crafted yesterday. Her eyes danced with a subtle light. She undoubtedly had not anticipated such a turn of events. With a delicate touch, she picked up the papers, her gaze lingering on them with a hint of trepidation. Elaine, what is this delightful surprise? It beautifully delineates our roles and responsibilities, I expressed with a serene clarity. It brings me joy to assist with Liam while you and Andrew are both engaged in your work during this camp period. Yet, it is essential that we find harmony in our understanding. This is a matter of honor. On the matter of safeguarding my time and energy. And ensuring that you are fully aware of what you can anticipate from me. She lingered in silence for a moment, delicately turning the pages. Each phrase was crafted with intention, clear and precise. Only childcare services are offered, with no laundry, meal preparation, or errands included. Uninterrupted moments. A well-structured timetable. Days of repose. Expenses related to transportation. Compensated. Beyond the hours. Requires prior notice and mutual agreement. Her brow furrowed delicately as she perused the lines. Jaw tightening ever so gently. She found it unappealing. Yet, she was acutely aware that she could not deny it. At last, she gracefully handed the contract to Andrew. As he read, the hue faded from his complexion, his fingers delicately fidgeting at the edges. "Mother," he whispered, his gaze flitting from the words to my face. "What is this, I wonder? Must we truly rely on contracts when it comes to family?" I smiled gently. "I seek nothing from you. All I seek is a sense of clarity. I am here, ready to lend my assistance as you seek it. Yet, I shall not bear the weight of the entire abode upon my shoulders once more. Your efforts seem to fall short of providing the assistance I seek." "It is empowering." Andrew and Rachel shared a lingering gaze. Emotions danced in the atmosphere between them, akin to the gentle ascent of steam. Yet, in the end, Andrew let out a soft sigh and surrendered to the moment. "If that is your desire, we have sealed our agreement." And in that moment, the atmosphere transformed. In the days that ensued, all things gracefully aligned. Each morning, I arrived with grace and dedication, embodying both punctuality and professionalism. I assisted Liam in preparing a delightful breakfast, guided the completion of assignments, led him to the enchanting park. Each gesture harmonized with the agreement. Neither more nor less. Domestic tasks. That matter does not fall within my purview. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I finished my day's work and made my way back to the cozy embrace of my motel for the evening. Andrew and Rachel, with a hint of reluctance, chose not to contest it. A fresh melody has begun to play. Serene and composed. Yet, an undercurrent of tension lingered just beneath the surface. Rachel's anxiety began to seep through the delicate fissures. She would cast a fleeting glance my way from across the kitchen, her delicate hand gracefully stirring the pot. Her eyes danced with unspoken thoughts, a silent symphony of emotions yearning to be expressed. Her lips would gently part, then draw near once more, the words receding like gentle waves retreating from the embrace of the shore. I observed every detail. Yet, I remained silent. For I recall with vivid clarity the months and years spent darting through this house, akin to a devoted maid without recompense. How she remained silent in that moment. How she observed in quietude as I exhausted myself. Now she could embrace her silence, much like I once did. As the second week of my contract-based nanny return unfolded, my routine gracefully settled into a serene rhythm. Each morning, I arrived promptly at 8, and as the sun began to set, I departed at 6, much like any dedicated professional would. Liam and I discovered a harmonious cadence of our own. A serene and respectful connection, adorned with well-defined expectations. Yet, I refused to confine my existence within the mere four walls of Andrew's abode. Each afternoon, following our delightful lunch, I would escort Liam to the charming local community park. It was perpetually vibrant with movement. Children frolicking in pursuit of shimmering bubbles. Parents gracefully unfurling picnic blankets. Graceful elderly couples meandering slowly around the verdant lawn. Initially, we found ourselves merely as two souls on the periphery. Yet, it wasn't long before the familiar faces in the park began to observe with keen interest. "Are you familiar with this place?" The inquiry emerged from a distinguished lady adorned in oversized sunglasses, her silver hair elegantly swept back with grace. Her name was Helen, a devoted church volunteer and a graceful part-time community organizer. "Not quite," I replied with a gentle smile. "I find myself at the charming motel nearby, here for the summer to lend a hand to my son with his little one." Her eyes sparkled with a radiant glow. "A quaint motel? Ah, it seems you are truly embracing the essence of freedom, aren't you?" Another young mother joined the conversation, gently cradling a toddler against her hip. "I was under the impression you were a professional nanny," she remarked. "Your tenderness towards him is truly remarkable. Liam possesses an exquisite ability to listen with such attentiveness. It is graced with a smile." They inquired about the ways I captivated Liam's attention. I revealed the knowledge I possessed. Discover the art of transforming old newspapers into charming paper puppets, the delightful process of turning pebbles into engaging math games, and the enchanting way we utilized park benches to weave tales of storytelling. As I spoke, a subtle transformation danced within their gaze. Once, you held the noble title of teacher, did you not? No, I responded gently. Yet, I nurtured him with my own hands. For a span of 7 years. In due course. With love. There was a certain quality in the air that caused the small gathering to pause, enveloped in a moment of serene silence. The following day, as we stepped into the park, a few of them beckoned us with gentle waves. A mother, accompanied by her 2 children, gracefully offered me a delicate flyer. This Saturday, our church warmly invites you to join us for a delightful family volunteer day. We shall be organizing donations and engaging in delightful community activities with the children. Would you and Liam care to join us? I accepted the flyer with a gracious nod, a subtle smile gracing my lips. As I glanced back, Liam's gaze met mine, his eyes shimmering with a sense of wonder. Dearest Grandma, could you kindly enlighten me on the meaning of a volunteer? I gracefully knelt to meet his gaze and spoke with deliberate softness. It is in those moments when you dedicate your time to uplift others, seeking no reward, simply because it resonates with your heart. He nodded gently, a hint of uncertainty in his eyes, yet he felt the essence of what was being conveyed. That enchanting evening, as we dined, I mentioned it with a light touch. This Saturday, I intend to accompany Liam to a delightful volunteer event at the church. Is that agreeable to you as well? Rachel's fork lingered gracefully in the air. The church, she said, her voice tinged with a delicate tension. Are you certain? Indeed, I responded, maintaining a playful lilt in my voice. It is entirely secure, and I believe it will offer him a delightful opportunity for growth and discovery. She remained silent. Yet, her eyes conveyed it all. On Saturday, we arrived as we had vowed to do. Liam and I gracefully sorted through the clothes, delicately labeled the boxes, and assisted the other children in arranging the shelves with care. Helen admired his unwavering focus, while several of the mothers captured the moment with their cameras for the church's Facebook group. That evening, Rachel returned home with an air of tension surrounding her. It seems that one of her colleagues had caught a glimpse of the photographs, particularly the one capturing Liam, standing with a sense of pride beside his neatly arranged stack of labeled boxes. They had garnered the highest number of likes. Rachel's smile had vanished. Mother, do you not believe that may be rather excessive for him? He is but a tender 7 years. He enjoyed himself, I remarked with a hint of playfulness, before shifting my gaze to Liam. Did you not, my dear? Liam lifted his gaze from the colorful blocks scattered across the carpet, his eyes sparkling with delight. Dearest mother, I shall assist with the garments today. My grandmother remarked that we were engaged in wonderful endeavors. Rachel remained silent. She gracefully slipped away into the kitchen. In the days that followed, a delicate transformation began to unfold. The residents of the neighborhood started to take notice of my presence. Some offered a gentle wave. The mothers began to extend their warm invitations for us to join them in close proximity during our delightful picnics. The children have taken to calling me Miss Elaine. Liam, as well, became increasingly accustomed to our charming daily adventures. He began to inquire if we might venture out together to lend a hand more frequently. Myself. My intention was never to take Rachel's place. I was gracefully rediscovering my essence. Discovering the essence of myself that flourished in the world, rather than merely existing behind another's kitchen sink. In the case of Rachel, her initial restlessness transformed into a subtle yet palpable sense of quiet resentment. She ceased her attempts to confront me directly. Yet, the weariness etched upon her visage deepened with each passing day. One enchanting evening, following a delightful dinner, Andrew approached me with a glass of water in hand. His voice was soft, unreserved. The matter of that church. My heartfelt gratitude to you. Liam has been rather changed of late. In a delightful manner. I inclined my head, words unnecessary in that moment. Yet deep within, I was aware. The tide was gracefully shifting. This had transcended mere child care. This was a profound influence. And I had only just embarked on its use. It was a Wednesday afternoon, a moment suspended in time. Brisk air, radiant glow. An autumn day that envelopes you like a tender recollection, lingering softly upon your skin. Following our midday meal, as was customary, Liam gently pulled at my sleeve. "Dearest Grandma, shall we take a delightful stroll to the park?" I nodded gracefully, took hold of our jackets, and a bottle of water, ready for the evening ahead. As we ventured into the open air, he gently intertwined his delicate hand with mine, a silent gesture that spoke volumes. We strolled gently along the serene path beside the lake. Liam meandered toward the lush grass, playfully nudging the fallen leaves, each step a gentle dance of spontaneity. Merely the delightful liberation of a child, unburdened by the weight of urgency. "Grandma," he exclaimed, his gaze shifting to meet mine with a sudden intensity. "Do you recall the place where we gathered those acorns during our last enchanting outing?" I blinked in astonishment, yet gracefully nodded in agreement. "Indeed. You tucked them all into the pocket of my coat and whispered that you would nurture an acorn tree into existence." He erupted into a fit of laughter. "I envisioned it blossoming by the dawn of the next day. And you whispered that we must nourish it with milk." A smile graced my lips. "Who would have thought you would place your trust in me?" We strolled together, exchanging soft words, not delving into anything deep, merely savoring the delicate fragments of our shared memories. There was a moment when I recalled the very first time you fell ill with a fever. "You truly frightened me to my core." He raised his gaze. "Did I shed a tear? Did you find any rest that night?" I chose to remain silent. With a tender touch, I reached over and softly tousled his hair. Upon returning to the house, he did not rush to the television as was his customary habit. Instead, he hurried directly into his chamber. As I gracefully moved about the kitchen, fetching him a glass of water, his voice called out to me. "Beloved grandmother. Join me here, if you will." I discovered him seated gracefully on the floor, enveloped by a sea of paper and markers. He presented me with a drawing. "This is meant for you, my dear. It is you and I, together in this moment." Under the expansive embrace of a grand tree, an adult tenderly held the hand of a child. The lines danced in a delightful disarray. The hues softly spilled beyond the confines. Yet it was simply exquisite. "You mentioned we used to visit this park together," he murmured gently. I gently accepted the drawing and offered a knowing nod. I lacked the confidence in my voice to express myself. At that moment, the front door gracefully swung open. Andrew had returned to the warmth of home. "Father." Liam hurried towards him, the paper fluttering in his grasp. Today, I captured the essence of my grandmother in a drawing. In the embrace of the park. Andrew took the drawing, cast a fleeting glance upon it, and remained silent. Moments later, he approached me with a graceful stride. His voice was a soft whisper, rich and inviting. "Mother. My heartfelt gratitude to you. Liam has been exhibiting a change in demeanor of late. In a delightful manner." I chose not to respond. He paused for a moment, then spoke softly. "It seems I am beginning to grasp the essence of how you nurtured him throughout those years." Our gazes intertwined, steady and unwavering. "The opportunity to learn still awaits you." On that enchanting evening, Liam urged me to share with him the same beloved picture book once more. Thrice in succession. It was only when his eyelids grew heavy with the weight of fatigue that he finally conceded to the gentle allure of rest. As I gently tucked him in, he murmured softly. "Beloved grandmother. Would you consider returning to our shared space?" I smiled as I gently tucked the blanket beneath his chin. "My dear," I murmured. "One day, you will blossom into your own, and the presence of Grandma will no longer be a constant comfort by your side." The light extinguished with a gentle whisper of a snap. I lingered at the threshold, my gaze fixed upon him for what felt like an eternity. He turned gently in his slumber, his voice a soft whisper lost in the shadows of the night. "Beloved grandmother." It pulled at a profound part of my being. Yet, I remained silent. I gently closed the door, with a calm and deliberate grace. On Friday night, the house enveloped itself in an unusual stillness. In the quiet sanctuary of his room, Liam found himself immersed in the delicate art of coloring. As I nestled into the living room couch, a book cradled in my hands, the television lay still, and the kitchen embraced a serene silence. Only the rare, gentle chirp from outside disturbed the serene stillness. Rachel gracefully emerged from the kitchen, her hands delicately placing the dishes into the sink. She no longer seeks my assistance as she once did. Not a single word was uttered. With her back to me, she gracefully turned on the water. Andrew lingered at the dining table, his phone resting silently beside him. He gazed upon me. Then at Rachel, my heart swells with unspoken words. Then he returned, as if attempting to measure something unseen. At last, he found his voice. "Mother." I gazed upward and whispered, "Hmm?" He lingered in uncertainty. Rachel spoke softly. "Liam has been exhibiting a change in demeanor of late. Plumber. He often finds solace in his own company. Expresses gratitude now." I gently closed my book and nodded, my voice steady and calm. "That is delightful." He cleared his throat, his voice lowering to a whisper, as though he wished to keep the water from swallowing him whole. She is finding it quite challenging. Perhaps you are intentionally weaving this intricate dance. Deepening his connection to you. As if it were a contest. I remained silent. I simply gazed upon him. He continued on his way. Yet, I find myself doubting that notion. It seems he believes that you truly perceive him. As if he holds significance. The water has ceased its gentle flow. Rachel turned gracefully, a dish towel in her hand, and snapped with a hint of exasperation. "What of it? I cannot find him." "Is that truly what you mean to convey?" Andrew recoiled slightly. "I did not intend to." She placed the towel gently upon the counter. "Are you aware of the changes that have unfolded since her return? She follows her heart's desires, and in doing so, she garners admiration effortlessly. I tend to the laundry, prepare the meals, and manage the logistics, yet my efforts remain unnoticed by all." "My dearest Rachel." Andrew attempted to interject, yet she was already gaining momentum. "She yearns to demonstrate that she is the more devoted mother. That she possesses an even greater charm. And you," she directed her gaze at Andrew, her voice trembling with emotion. "You are allowing her to take the lead." I remained silent. I averted my gaze from her presence. I chose not to defend myself. I found myself seated, my gaze lingering on the coffee table, where Liam's watercolor markers were artfully strewn about. I lingered in anticipation. Her anger danced upon the silence, like fists striking gently against soft cotton. Silence reigns. There shall be no resistance. Only tranquility. Andrew lingered in silence for a while, lost in thought. Then softly. "Perhaps, she simply possesses a deeper understanding of how to cherish others." All came to a standstill. Rachel parted her lips, only to close them once more. She remained still, a vision of grace. Her shoulders quivered ever so slightly. In that moment, she gracefully turned and glided away. The bedroom door whispered closed behind her, gentle yet resolute. As the first light of dawn began to grace the horizon, I quietly emerged from the motel, embracing the stillness of the morning. Andrew awaited my arrival, poised by my car, a white envelope delicately held in his hand. "Mother," he spoke, his voice tinged with weariness, "I hardly found rest last night." I chose not to respond. He extended the envelope with a graceful gesture. "It transcends mere currency. It is merely a delicate sheet of paper." I accepted it. It was revealed. The handwriting bore a slight unevenness, a hint of haste in its strokes. "You have forever been our sanctuary." We simply lost sight of what that truly signified. I gently folded it back up and offered a soft nod. "Thank you," I expressed with heartfelt sincerity. He gazed upon me. "Will you return to me? Shall we share our lives once more?" I gently shook my head. Let us bide our time until Liam has matured a touch more. Then we shall see. He chose not to engage in a dispute. Merely inclined my head. As I began to depart, he called out once more. Mother. I came to a halt. I sincerely apologize for the endless moments spent yearning to be by your side. I raised my hand and waved, letting silence speak for me. There is no necessity. As the evening unfolded at the motel, my phone vibrated softly, breaking the tranquil stillness. A heartfelt note from Rachel. My sincerest apologies. It seems I may have allowed my emotions to guide me too fervently, perhaps reacting more than was warranted. In the past, my vision was somewhat clouded. No punctuation, there is no greeting. Merely a simple, wrinkled line of prose. Like a delicate sheet of paper, once crumpled, now lovingly unfurled to reveal its graceful form. I chose not to respond. Yet, I chose not to erase it as well. On the final Friday of August, I delicately arranged my modest collection of clothes into a suitcase. There are no farewells. The family group chat remained silent, devoid of messages. Just as I arrived. Serene and immaculate, ensuring that every detail is perfectly tied up. That morning, Liam remained in the gentle embrace of slumber. I chose not to awaken him. Instead, I gently opened his sketchbook to the page where we had lovingly sketched birds together. At the periphery of the page, I inscribed in delicate, meticulous script. If you find yourself longing for Grandma, perhaps you could create a little drawing and send it my way. Letters possess a timeless quality that outlasts the fleeting nature of calls. I gracefully zipped the suitcase closed. In the soft glow of the evening, Diana awaited in her car just outside the motel. The window glides down, a smile effortlessly gracing my lips. She declared, I have it all. Pray tell, you haven't forgotten to include their pots and pans, have you? A gentle laugh escaped my lips. Cast a lingering gaze upon the neighborhood, allowing silence to envelop the moment. As we arrived in the countryside, the sky had just started to embrace the gentle light of dawn. The residence stood proudly, its red brick facade exuding charm, rising gracefully over 2 stories. At this moment, a few fresh mint plants graced the yard. Diana's most recent endeavor in the garden. As she leaped from the car, she spread her arms wide, reminiscent of a ringmaster heralding the return of a grand performance. Ah, look who has returned. Our valiant city champion, returning to bask in the splendor of well-deserved rest. A soft laugh escaped my lips. As I pulled my suitcase through the door, it felt not like a conclusion, but rather a graceful arrival to the very place I was destined to be. The kitchen was filled with the inviting aroma of warm oats. A gentle snore wafted softly from the dog bed nestled in the corner. All remained as it was. And yet, in some enchanting way, everything had unfolded. In just a matter of days, I found myself gracefully returning to my familiar cadence. Awakening in the embrace of the garden at dawn. Afternoons spent crafting exquisite jam. At times, a stroll through the market with Diana, our arms entwined, feels like a delightful escape. The rhythm unfolded gently. Yet never devoid. On a brisk morning, the doorbell chimed softly. Ms. Elaine, the mailman announced, extending an envelope towards you, has a letter that awaits your attention. It appears to have originated from the city. I have committed to it. The instant my eyes fell upon the delicate handwriting, my heart fluttered with delight. Curved letters crafted with tenderness. My dearest Liam. I gracefully settled at the quaint kitchen table and gently unfolded it. A delicate piece of stiff, wrinkled cardstock gracefully slipped out. An exquisite illustration. A young boy, his small hand clasped gently in that of an elderly woman adorned in a lovely blue dress. Positioned gracefully beneath the boughs of a tree. High among the branches, 3 birds gracefully took to the skies. Upon the reverse, in unsteady block letters. Dearest Grandma, are you still crafting your delightful blueberry jam? I long to savor your bread once more. My instructor encouraged me to compose a piece about the most affectionate individual I have encountered. I have penned my thoughts of you. My heart longs for your presence. I held back my tears. With a gentle grace, I rose and made my way to the fridge. Secured the drawing gracefully with a magnet, anchoring one corner with a touch of elegance. Sunlight cascaded through the kitchen windows, filling the space with a warm embrace. Gently gathering the rows of jam jars that graced the sill. They shimmered with an amber hue, reminiscent of summer captured in delicate bottles. I gently unscrewed the lid of a jar. Still enveloped in warmth. Indulged in a delicate spoonful. It was more delightful than I recalled. Diana cast a gentle glance from the porch. What troubles your lovely visage? She playfully teased. Allow me to take a wild guess. A message arrived, inquiring about financial assistance. I gazed upward and smiled softly. Absolutely not. It serves as a gentle reminder of my enduring significance. She arched an eyebrow, a subtle hint of intrigue dancing in her gaze. My dear, you reign over this land with grace. You hold the esteemed position of CEO at Blueberry Jam Incorporated. I chuckled softly, yet remained silent. Instead, I gently folded Liam's letter and placed it delicately into the wooden box nestled at the back of the kitchen drawer. The moment in which I cherished the essentials. For aging is not a decline in worth. At times, it simply signifies the warmth of being cherished. In an alternate manner.